Hello, and welcome to the Guilbault Girls Show, where you will have the opportunity to hear from mothers, fathers, siblings, and individuals themselves about their journey of living with a disability. I know, it's called Guilbault Girls, but we have a bonus for you as we get the Guilbault boys to interview some of the dads and siblings and get their perspectives too. We'll also have special guests from time to time to share the many resources that are available to those living with a disability and their families. So get ready to laugh, smile, cry, maybe even get a little angry when you hear some of these stories of their day-to-day struggles. But let's not forget their many triumphs. As they say, it takes a village. And if it weren't for our village, we wouldn't be where we are today. So join us. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Guilbault Girls. Today's guest is Colorado native Derek Flores of Zappos Adaptive, who happens to have over 15 years experience in the apparel industry. Today, Derek's passion for trends and dedication for inclusivity continues as he curates styles and merchandises fashionable and functional products for those with dressing needs. So it's so awesome to have you on the show today, Derek. I'm so excited.
Thank you so
You're
much
welcome.
for having me.
So for the listeners, Faith and I have actually, and my husband, had the pleasure of meeting, connecting, staying in touch with one another, and networking along the way since 2019, when we met him at the Runway of Dreams fashion show in New York for Fashion Week. So it was pretty cool. He actually got to style Faith, and we got to hang out with him for a little bit and connected. And that was actually the year that Faith filmed her documentary, Faith's World, also.
Yeah.
Which was
you can
pretty
see
cool.
Me in the movie in the background walking around like.
Yep. I love it. So I can't express how grateful we are to have met so many amazing people in the adaptive fashion industry. These experiences and relationships that have been built are just priceless. So I just want to thank you so much for being a guest on the show and simply for being you. And then even as a side note, I mean, you meet people and it's like you just connect. And I can tell you, which I think is like amazing too. Like I get a text from Derek. Hey, I saw your son is stationed in Colorado. If he ever wants a home cooked meal, my parents don't live too far. Like, who does that? Like, You're awesome. You just rock. I love it. So, but it's beyond to be able to be a part of change that's been in the making these past 7 years for the disability community. And I just can't wait to see where it goes from there.
Yeah, really. We're, we always say this, that we're right there. This is the time, but like right now it just feels different, and it feels like this is the time. There's so many more people involved, other retailers, other brands, more passionate people that are making their voices heard, so that people will make product or make change, however that is. So it's awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing. So you ask people, what is Zappos Adaptive and their mission? So Zappos Adaptive is a shopping experience that brings together brands offering products that are brands that are innovative, functional, and fashionable. They're on a mission to provide options for people searching for clothing, shoes, and accessories that help make getting dressed easier. So your mission speaks for itself. So
just trying to, hey, how can we, make it easier for people to get out the door easier in the morning, or, a parent or a caregiver or a person with a dressing need, so.
It gives them huge independence too.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's start with you. I know you've had several roles that you've played over the years with Zappos. Can you share a little more about what those roles were and how it led you to where you are today?
Definitely. Yeah. So I've been at Zappos, geez Louise. It'll be, I think it's 15 years now. No, 14 years. It'll be 15. Maybe it's 15 years. I don't know. But I've been there at least 14 years. I started actually in the customer service and the customer loyalty team. This was right around 2007, 2008. And I was doing finance stuff before, was lucky enough to get an interview at Zappos and was able to get hired. I started in CLT, kind of worked my way around there, and then started working on apparel. I started writing descriptions for a lot of the men's and women's fashion brands, and then I started writing for the action sports, and then so writing and learning all these different types of apparel that we sold. And I actually have a background in apparel, just a long time ago. In 2004, started a clothing company when I was in college, and we're printing t-shirts in a garage and doing that. And I kind of learned about the business just a little bit. during that time, and always knew like, you know what, this was really cool. I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed like just, fashion and what we were doing at the time. And I wanted to be a part of it. So I kind of knew when I got a job at Zappos, like one day, like if everything works out, like I'd like to be, working on the apparel side of things. And luckily I was able to. I did something and had some people that were really excited about me and they wanted to bring me over. So after about 2 years of being at Zappos, I moved over to the apparel team in like 2009 or so, right when they were getting started. And a little bit after they got started and Zappos started selling apparel. And since then, I've just been really involved in apparel. I've bought so many different brands and so many different product categories, from denim to men's classic to women's intimates to, action sports, performance, casual, Tommy Bahama, one of the brands. So I bought all kinds of stuff, big swath of brands and experience that I have there. And this is probably 8 years ago or so, I helped a friend of mine whose son has Down syndrome, kind of create like a charity so that they could, raise money to have some funds for their gym to like, let's train people how to do grappling. Let's do CrossFit with people with disabilities. And Garrett, who's my friend, really awesome, whole full circle story we can get into later. So Garrett is my friend down there. Him and his dad and myself, we created this charity called Garrett's Fight. I didn't create it; they created it. I kind of helped them along the way. But anyway, so Garrett is training other kids. He's doing CrossFit classes, doing all this stuff. And just recently we got to fly Garrett out to Vegas for another project, not even with Zappos Adaptive. And it came full circle. So the reason that I was asked to go on to kind of help out with Zappos Adaptive was because of my experience in apparel, because I had lots of experience there. And then with my friend Garrett, because they knew that I'd worked with someone from the disability community. They were like, oh my gosh, Derek did all this great stuff with Garrett and the UFC. So let's ask him. So they asked me, and that was 7 years ago. I was asked to kind of come and help. And since then, it's just been a whirlwind of just awesome, positive things like you were talking about, and very life-changing for myself and, a lot of the people that are on my team and that we get to work with. So.
Yeah. And I mean, look at all the fashion shows that you've been involved with between New York and LA and, getting to meet all of the talent, all these individuals and their families. And it's just, it's very humbling. It's just, I don't know. It's hard to explain unless you're like in it and you're there,
Yeah. And I'm very humble about all of that, and also very like appreciative because like this is not anything that I ever thought that I would be doing. Right. And I'm just so grateful and just so lucky to be able to do this and to have a company that's like, your team brought something to the table that can move our business forward. It's so different than what everyone's doing, and we want to support this. And it's just been, I'm just, like I said, I'm just very lucky to be here and helping in the way that I can.
And I thought it was neat too, because I was looking on the website and I saw that that it all started with a phone call from a customer looking for shoes without laces,
So Tanya.
I just, it's all us parents and people like, hey, I love how things like happen in the world. I don't know. It starts with one little phone call and then
it was
boom,
like that. Yeah.
Thing.
Yeah. And Tanya is great. Tanya, we just spoke with her celebrating our 5-year anniversary, because it's like, this is a big milestone for Zappos, when we talk about all of the great things that the company has done over the years. That phone call that happened 7 years ago really kind of changed the way that we look at things, like how Zappos looks at things. And because of the way that we are, Zappos is a very unique culture. It's got a very unique, just we're different than a lot of our friends in the retail space. So, if we have an idea, if there's something that's going to really move the company forward, like no one's going to tell you no. Like,
you're very open to the ideas and how can you make it work? And I love the fact too that you guys, you have big brand names like, Tommy Adaptive and, JC Penney's and all these different ones. And then I love, because I got to interview Linda Beadle from with the Saki
Oh,
Talkies,
yeah. Oh, yeah. I love
and then
Linda.
you have startup companies like that. Like
Yeah.
it's amazing how like you guys, like, let's talk about like all the different brands. You have so many different brands of apparel, like a style for everyone. And so let's talk about some of the brands and then also how each one of them are modified or adaptive, so to speak.
Yeah. And I mean, there's like, it's kind of like almost threefold is kind of the way that I look at it, because there are a lot of startups like our friend Linda there with Beetlebug and Saki Takis, where she saw a need, right, with her grandson and was like, I have to do something about this, I have to figure this out. And like, that's one thing for us, where when we were getting into this business, like, there are so many people that's like the reason they're doing it. We're doing this because my parent, my son, like whoever it was that impacted them so much that they had to make a difference. And we wanted to kind of highlight those, and we kind of worked finagled things to make sure, hey, how do we sell these folks on Zappos? How do we do this? How do we share their story? How do we give them some exposure, because they're doing it right? So that's one section. You have these folks that are building it this way. Then you have what we've been able to do. You mentioned the fashion shows earlier. One fashion show that we put on in Las Vegas, we did it around what we call a brand summit. So we have all of our brands come out to Las Vegas, and we put on a fashion show with Runway of Dreams in Las Vegas that was separate from the New York show. And we had all these brands in there that saw this, were like, oh my gosh, what can we do to be a part of this? And that sparked up some really great conversations from a ton of brands. One being a big one would be UGG. So UGG, the UGG boots.
Yes.
Right. So everybody loves those. Those boots are always here. Every winter you're going to see those boots out. So what we felt that we could do from that fashion show is we can really kind of guide some of these brands that, they don't necessarily know what to do, right? They want to help, but like, how do we do this? How do we approach this? Well, hey, we'll help you. Like, we'll hold your hand in this, and we'll walk through this with you, because it may seem daunting. It may seem, a little scary. You may have to reinvent the wheel. You might have to do all this stuff, but it's not really that hard. And I think that's one thing in this kind of section of product is us kind of guiding some of those brands to make product.
Yeah, go ahead. Stand by as Derek gets some props.
So you might have to cut that little piece out, but
no, I said stand by as Derek gets some props.
I was like, I didn't know if we were going to do video.
No,
but,
absolutely.
But like with UGG, like it was really great. So, that's what we have been doing as of late. And, we've definitely since that, 7 years ago, when this whole idea got kicked off, then when we actually were like, hey, we can do this, let's get some people together. What is our next step there? We're bringing in brands of people that are already making stuff. Well, listening to the community, how many people that have a dressing need or have a disability want to wear UGGs, right? So many. So it's like, it just kind of was like the next step in our evolution to be able to, hey, we have great relationships with a lot of these brands. So why don't we kind of help them get into this space?
Yeah.
And they can lean on us to, hey, let's bring in people from the disability community, and we'll do a focus group. And let's, bring your designers out, and let's take a pair of UGGs and let's cut them, and let's see how you can make these so much more accessible.
Sides? No way.
So like this particular boot, if you're listening, you can't see it, but imagine a boot that you have at your house where on the left side of your left, or the right side of your left foot, there's a zipper on the side. Well, imagine if you put a zipper on the other side. So not only does the zipper have one where it can't be seen, but you just put another very slight, very easily manipulatable zipper on the other side. How many more people can wear this boot now? And these were kind of like the aha moments that we have when we're talking with these different brands, with someone that has a prosthetic, says, hey, if you do this, this, and this, and we take this and we cut it here and do this and bring the zipper down a little bit lower, I can actually wear these now.
Yeah.
So that's been one other section. I know we're
definitely getting those for Faith. Oh my gosh. Oh, yeah. I love them.
So that's just kind of the other part of the different product types we have, because there are kind of going back. So we started Zappos Adaptive 5 years ago. One of the big things that we did was this UGG collaboration in 2020. Working with them, we did our focus group then, but since then, we've done focus groups with, I mean, a bunch of other brands, and worked very, very closely with other brands from Sorel to Reebok. And our big launch that we had in October, Crocs. So yeah, so we look at, we take the feedback that we get from when I'm at the shows, right? I'm at the fashion show. Hey, let's try to make sure, does this work? Blah, blah, blah. You see me how I do that. So it's like, if we, I listen to a lot of the models, I listen to the talent, and they always, everybody's like, I just want to wear what everybody else, right? I love wearing these. I was like, but they don't really fit you. But I make it work. So if we can kind of, break down those walls with the brands and kind of ease their, like, hey, we're here to help too. Like, this isn't you doing it solo.
Right.
We've seen a lot of success there, and we've seen a lot of, those, like you, when you were looking at these shoes, your eyes lit up, because it's like, how many times has maybe Faith wanted to wear Uggs, and it's like, oh, well, I don't know, Karen, if you have time, so it's like one of those things. So, for us, when we talk about the different product, we like going back to it, we have those people that are making the product because it means something to them. We have these type of brands where it's something that we're kind of helping them with, or kind of maybe guiding them, at least giving them, some peace of mind. And then the third piece would be that, we have a lot of product on Zappos that is inadvertently adaptive, if you will, right? There's a lot of product that, hey, this works with someone with an AFO, even though it wasn't designed for this. Or these pants, they're the softest, they have a little thing, you can pull them up easily, you don't need to have dexterity to do it, or there's a lot of stuff that we find that are just easy. A lot of brands, they make easy closures just because people want fast, easy, let's go. So, what we do then is, the focus that I have now when it comes to those type of brands that are already being bought by another buyer at Zappos is, hey, let's see if this works for someone with a disability. We have these opportunities to say, hey, Faith, you're going to be working with us on this fashion show. Try these out. Based on what you told me about your dressing needs, these might work for you. And if they do, cool, then I can say, let's classify these. Let's get these up on the website, because we know that these may work for people.
Right.
So that's the other kind of avenue that we have when it comes to kind of filling our store, like our storefront, zapposadaptive.com, with the different products that are a very large assortment, like you had mentioned before, of things that, this may work for you.
Yeah. And then also too, and I come across people that still don't even know a lot about adaptive clothing, or that it even exists, which is like sad, because it's like, oh my gosh, how do you not know, and then you start to tell people too. So, for people that may be listening to this that aren't aware, so some of the other adaptions are, it looks like buttons or snaps.
Oh yeah.
But it's magnets. People have a hard time, like, just for instance, with Faith, she has a hard time zippering zippers. So on her pants, it would be either magnets or Velcro, or even just elastic. The biggest key thing for me with Faith is with her AFOs are pants, because it can't be too hard or skinny at the bottom because they have to be able to either go,
over or
off, depending upon which way you want to struggle with them to get them on or off. And, so when they're loose and they have some give to go over the bulky AFOs, and, if they have those zippers or some type of opening at the bottom, which is, an ease, and then the shoes going over the AFOs, just all of that stuff, and it also, so there's so many different ways and different things. Now, what kind of blew my mind when I was looking on your website, I don't know, I was like a year or two ago, I think I was talking about snaps with you, or buttons, and you had pointed me to the website where you had, was it like an interchangeable button or snap for it?
Yeah. So, and I don't know if we have those anymore, but yeah, there are people that's another type of something that came up. Well, hey, I have a friend, and there's a bunch. If you go on Amazon and you just type in, well, there's actually a couple. I'm not sure of the name of the brands, but we're working on kind of expanding our assortment. But as of right now, we don't have those, but those are available, and they're basically just like a faux button. I don't know if I have any here with me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a faux button. You place it over the other button. What you do, where you would insert the button on the back side of the placket, you push this magnet through so that you have your faux button there that's covering the main button, and then that, what you put through the placket through the back side, it just kind of snaps together.
Snaps together, yeah.
Yeah. So and that's for, we definitely looked at those type of products, because how many, people don't necessarily want to redo their entire wardrobe.
Right.
Right. Or they, if they, whatever happens, and they may need, they may need something different. Well, I have all these shirts. What can I do? Well,
right.
there are options out there. There are also like brands that do that. We have our friends, at Magnaretti, at Tommy, at, other, our friends in the retail space there, Pennies and Kohl's and everyone, they're doing that as well. They're kind of adapting their products to put on, hey, let's do this. Let's do these magnetic buttons. Let's do Velcro. So I think that it's just
Moore was actually one of the first ones that we had worked with way back when, and Faith got to sample out some of the magnetic shirts from the very first in 2016 with Tommy. So yeah, that was pretty cool. And then I also see too, you have all the different the medical wear options too. Can you tell us a little bit more about those items?
And
those are things you don't think about, but so many people, like, it's a need.
Yeah. And there's, then that's another thing that comes about with awareness, for our medical or treatment wear, we have different brands on there that, let's say you have PT, and you need to get, to your shoulder easier, at the seam of the zipper on the sleeve, you can zip that all the way up to your neckline. It's not going to come off, so your shirt's not going to fall off, but it stops there. So, hey, let's work on your shoulder. Right. Hey, if you have an open port and you need to cover that because you are still active, because you're going to work, hey, we have PICC line covers. Hey, if your child has a feeding tube and you need to be able to get to easily access that, we have brands that do that. So, I mean, what we look at, mastectomy, I mean, there's a lot of products, and these are all, the brands, like I had said before, that, hey, there's a need. We see that there's a need for this. Like, we want to do something to kind of help in this respect. And, the brands that we carry within there, I mean, there's a handful that, Karen wear, Rebound wear, from a intimate side, on the ladies side, I think this is really important as well, because if you have, if you've had a mastectomy and you have a bag and you need something there, cool. We have those options as well. We have stuff, if it's a bra that you need, zipper on the front, because there's no way you can move
reach
back
to
there,
the back.
but you need it easy. You need it to hook easily. We have that. Same thing with underwear. So we do, we've been really trying to expand that assortment as well, because we understand that, the dressing needs aren't just for your shoes and your clothes. It's your underwear, your socks. We're looking, we have different sock brands on there as well. Working on some other things, but the medical wear and the treatment wear has been very rewarding as well, because once people find out that there is this, I gave someone purchased a PICC line cover that I ran into at the last fashion show just in September, and they had no idea. Yeah. I told him about this a while ago, and he's wearing this PICC line cover that he had no idea. He's been, going in and getting treatment for however many years, and it's just like this light bulb goes off when we're able to kind of build awareness around some of the products that are built, because the people care. The people that are building these products care. And they want it to be, right for whatever dressing need, whether it's a medical condition or if it's, and that's what I found about working with the people that are building products for the adaptive community or the medical community. Everybody cares, and they're making things that are a big differentiator from what you can find in the market, And I was like, well, what did people do with the PICC lines before? They cut the bottom of the sock off, put that on your arm to cover your
Yeah.
open port. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
And you have this really cool, sleeve that is moisture wicking and all of this. And it's, it's not that expensive, so little things like that, are just very, very, it's really rewarding. And it's just really trying to build that awareness around, hey, we have this product and there are these brands, these retailers, these folks that care and want you to have it easier.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. So going back quickly before we wrap up about the footwear, because again, you guys have amazing footwear, that you have the different orthotic brands, the AFO friendly, you have wide width, my gosh, that's like a huge need. And those are always hard to find. It was always, I remember even my son, he didn't have to wear AFOs, but he always had to have like double wide, and Stride Right was the only one that carried it. You could never find anything back then. You have the easy on and off, not to mention all the different options. So you have Velcro, you have the bungee and cord, the the hook and loop. I mean, the list, it goes on. Now also, I also know that you also sell, like, so if somebody needs two separate sizes, or if they only need one single shoe. And again, that was another thing I had with you when I had Billy's, and I was like, okay, I'm like, cause she always drags that right foot. So that's the one that I end up getting holes in or getting really low to, so I'm like, how awesome is that to be able to just have to purchase one? And I know I couldn't, I remember I'm like, I can't find it anywhere. And because that was just me trying to look, but you have a spot on there too for that you guys, that you guys offer that as well.
No, that was a it's a great program. And that, we started that like looking, I mean, basically when I started at the company, that has been a constant conversation. You'll have a customer, what you just said, hey, I only need one, or I have two different sizes. So we've been hearing this for as long as I can remember. So we knew that if we, like, this should be something that we can work on. And we pulled the team together and we released a survey, to the community. And this survey lit up, man, people were just so excited about it. And there's the idea. Like I said, if we have an idea and we have, no one's going to say no. Well, look, so many people want this, like, how do we do it? And bringing in the different teams and figuring all of that out. And in July of 2020, we launched the singles and different size shoe project, where you can go if you only need that one. That's actually really what you mentioned too, not just people that have a drag, but skateboarders who maybe use their foot to put, like, so they're going to have their non-dominant foot that isn't doing, you kicking the backside with tricks, you're going to wear a hole in that as well. So what can we do there? So that was just, it was a really, really, we should do it. Right? Like, this is something that Zappos should do. We are a customer service company, and part of that customer service is providing things that other people may not have. And, there's a handful of folks that do this, but for us now, we do have a great brand assortment on the singles page. So if you go to zapposadaptive.com, there'll be a little box, click on singles, and we have everything from, your performance to, casual to outdoor stuff, so it's really, I mean, it's just been awesome. It's been so awesome because we've been hearing it for so long, and to be able to action on it and like try to figure it out. And we've got some work to do. We're not there yet to where we want it, but we'll get there. And I think we're getting close. We're getting close to being able to really have, as a lot more variety. Assortment.
Because that was one of the ones when I interviewed Billy, we were talking about that too. It just amazes me all, like, how far and it's come. I love it. Now also to the you guys have a dedicated customer loyalty team trained to assist the customer shopping for products with special needs. So like, do you find that you have to really train a lot of folks in?
Well, we just do it. So when we have different courses available that just kind of spell out language, and because at the end of the day, there are people that might be uncomfortable with disability. Like, that's just what it is, right? So what can we do to make people comfortable? Like, hey, here's the type of language, and it's okay if you mess up, just acknowledge it, and just we provide training to all of our new hires, all the new hires, so that they kind of understand, here's what the assortment looks like, here's the type of questions. We have like a page where our CLT folks can go to it, check out, if there's any terminology, whatever, but also if like, hey, if we don't, we don't have everything, and there's a lot of stuff that we don't have. And if there's a specific customers looking for that, we provide them with other retailers that they can purchase that product off of.
Oh, that's cool.
We definitely just want to give them as much information as possible, so that they can make those connections with the customer and try to help them in the best way they can. And if not, then we have dedicated channels that even if they're on the phone with the customer, they can reach out to us and we can try to facilitate and help out. We have an internal messaging service that they can reach out to us. We're always answering that, like as soon as I can get it on my phone. But we always want to try to make sure that we're providing the most updated information, the most accurate information, and getting our CLT folks trained up on that so that they can deliver that same information to our customers that are looking for something. But yeah, it's been great working with that team.
That's
yeah,
cool.
they're fun.
That's cool. And then last but not least, your social media. Let's talk about that for a hot minute. So talking about authentic, like how do you guys come up with all your stuff? And you just have, it's just very authentic. You have like so many, like I was going through some of the different ones tonight, just looking, preparing myself, which I see them go by anyway, but I'm like, it's
what's up with this one?
It's pretty cool. I absolutely love it. And where can people find you guys on social media platforms?
All of them. It's Zappos Adaptive, Instagram, Facebook and Twitter and TikTok, and I think that's it. But the authenticity kind of goes back to what I mentioned before, being able to work with people from the disability community, whether it's on these fashion shows or meeting great friends, that you ask me, hey, what about that? There's people that do that all the time. So, I'm able to kind of recommend stuff, or like I said before, like, hey, let's see if this works. Okay, well, we have a photo shoot coming up. I know that this works. Like, hey, let's be confident that we can use this product. So we want to make sure anybody that's wearing any product from Zappos Adaptive, they can actually wear it.
Yeah.
Right. Like we want to make sure that, hey, if we're putting you in a pair of jeans, these jeans are going to work for your dressing need. And we're not just putting you in these jeans because they look cool.
Right.
So we'll try to find you jeans that look cool and also work with your dressing need. And it's, those type of conversations that we have with the talent, really kind of guide us in what types of product we should offer. What type of products do we need to kind of, bring to the forefront, or talk to the brands about making those products easier. But the authenticity thing is just something that I'm super passionate about. I know the entire team is, because we want to do this right. We listen to the community at every step of the way, to try to really use that voice for however we can make that impactful. Telling a brand, hey, if you are wearing an AFO, just make sure you put the zipper here, or we know that this worked. It's almost worked for this person that we had in the fashion show. Maybe we can do this, or maybe you can do that, or what do you recommend? Right. So just really, the feedback, the communication with the community and with the brands, and just we want to be better, and we want to be authentic, and we don't want this to be, this isn't something that's like a fly by night, flash in the pan type thing for Zappos.
Right.
We've been working on this for 7 years. And, we're going to continue working on this until Zappos Adaptive doesn't exist. And you can just go on to Zappos, and all of the functionality, everything is there for you to kind of look and see what, search what you need and be able to find it without a Zappos Adaptive there. That's my goal.
Right.
We'll see, but we're definitely as authentic, and our social media, you can see like the people that are followers on there are very active. They're always talking to us through those channels, giving us feedback, telling us about brands that we should go look at. So it's just been, our social media has been just a huge impactful thing, I think, for the community, because we listen, we're engaging, like it's been really good. And I hear that from, like if we tag someone on Instagram or we share, like people are, they're really happy when we do that kind of stuff. So it's just been it's been great to have the community behind this channel, that we were just, hey, let's, but we want to do it right. And there's the proof in the pudding that doing it right will get you followers and people appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So let's talk about words. All right. First of all, I see you have a token. What does that say
Yeah,
on there?
this is from a friend of mine who sent it to me. It says awareness. You sent this to me.
Me.
Yes, you did.
And you still have it. I love it. Oh
Of
my
course.
gosh. Well, guess what? You get to choose another word. So I chose that word. And the reason why I chose it was because you guys are just so awesome, bringing about awareness. And I just love it. Oh, that makes my heart smile.
Yeah.
So now I want a word from you. What is a word that that resonates with you, that's powerful, meaningful, that you would like to have?
Well, I was going through the questions, and for me, this one hit so when I started going through like my goals, all this, I'm like, well, I already have this one. This one is pretty much to a T. But I was thinking that passion would be another word, because that's how I'm able, I guess, to convince people that this is the right thing to do, and just the way that I'm able to speak. And I get so passionate when I think about this.
And it's not even convincing. And I don't mean to cut you up, but it's not even convincing, because it's your true self talking. It's your heart talking, your passion. It's like, you can't even convince anybody, because you reel them in.
Yeah. And I think that's like, if I ever am down, or if I'm ever feeling, whatever, like remembering that always lifts me up. Right. So I think one of your questions was around like, what's something that, you want to, that'll lift you up, or something that'll make things, if you're having a rough time. And like, that's one for me, because I know, especially around this, whether I'm passionate about my family or passionate about the work that I get to do, it's coming from my heart,
right,
like you just said. So thank you for noticing.
You're welcome. That's so exciting. So, and I saw your little doggy behind you a couple times earlier. So before we wrap up, is there anything else that you would like to share? Or just
anything? I mean, just for anybody listening, just know that there are people out there that are listening to you and are wanting to make an impact from the feedback that you provide. So if you're not following us, please follow us. If you have suggestions, you can even email us at zapposadaptive@zappos.com. If you have like, hey, I saw this brand, I saw this, I saw that, or hey, I want to work with you, like whatever, like we're always open to receiving that type of feedback. So don't be shy, go follow us, chat with us. Like we're always, trying to make the experience that we're providing better. So we want to hear it from the community, what we can do better and how we can make people's lives easier.
Yep. And as they say, it takes a village.
Sure does.
So, well, with that, thank you so much for joining us. Everybody stay tuned for another episode coming up sometime soon. Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining us as we spread awareness through our personal stories and the many resources shared. You can help us by joining our village simply by sharing our show to the masses. If you would like to support the Guilbault Girls on another level, click on the link in the show notes to make a donation in any amount. Add your address and you'll receive a hand-stamped token with the word village on it in appreciation. Be sure to subscribe to our Guilbault Girls podcast and YouTube show, and don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Guilbault Girls. Till next time.